Oh my gosh, you're there. Well, thank you for joining me. I'm Karenann McDonald. This is a great day, and thank you for being here. We're going to start off a little kick off with our Frequency Friday. So I hope you guys are all going to enjoy a little bit of this. So we'll get to spend the next 60 minutes together or so and see how things are going. So anyway, let's talk a little bit about how we can improve our vibration and frequencies. There's some pretty cool times coming up here. I think everyone's kind of like, maxed out. So let's have a little chill out. This is what this is designed to do for us. So as you can see, I've got a whole bunch of little toys and tools around us. I'm just surrounded here. And I thought we're going to show you guys some fun things to do. So anyway, we are going to talk a little bit about what most people are used to. Most people are always, I don't know why people are scared to go around and look at some of the herbology, but moving it to the next level, which is essential oils. So most people have seen all these different herbs, like sweet grass, and then there's some sage in here, and there's even wood you can burn like Palo Santo. Again, these are things you can forage for. Cedar wood, a lot of people burnt tobacco. So those are the four main things, a lot of people do. Even going into things like lavender. I don't know if you guys know about that, but a lot of people not just, put it in there because it smells nice, but they'll literally put some of that lavender into, water and do smudging. And a lot of people put that on here as well to burn. So very common one. And this is this absolutely stunning lavender that I got from the Okanagan when I was out there. So it was really common that you would see people come in and they would bring you gifts like this all the time. So I like to keep it here because, again, what people don't realize that this plant, when you're gathering it, it's really nice and it smells great, but it's somewhere down here, probably about 20, 30 megahertz. So it's nice. And it's better than eating, McDonald's and everything else. But what we are going to move into is the essential oil form of it. And we start moving into the essential oil form of it. We can then put the essential oils and distill it. So basically it's like, who hasn't steamed, spinach and realized that, oh my gosh, there's hardly any spinach left because the fluids are moving. But it's a slow process, a distillation process to get it from one form to the other. So what you're doing is you're liquefying it. And in some things people will put it into water. They'll sometimes even put it into different alcohols and they spray it. So when you're doing it that way, this is incredible. So I don't know if you guys can see, there's a fine mist coming out of here. And so this is called a hydrosol. And so some of the different essential oils I get, this is one of the companies out of Banff. It's incredible. It's a pink lotus. It's probably one of the most incredible, glorious smells I've ever had. But it's a pink lotus actually with some sweet orange in it. So it smells like this citrus. It's just automatically one of the best mood elevators there. And so you can spray it around. You could use it actually for disinfectant. They initially wanted to bring it out for yoga spray instead of doing your sanitizers. What happened when everyone was using these alcohol sanitizers. This was actually more effective. So that's something that Tony does at Nivescent. So again, you can also get orders Pink Lotus from any therapeutic or organic essential oil or herbal company and put some sweet orange and create your own blend. So everyone is got their own things that they prefer. And that's literally what, as simple as it is. So anyway, that's one of the things. And again, let's talk a little bit about this lavender, shall we? Lavender is an amazing property. Okay. It was used for calming. And people either, I find, love it or they don't. Like it's one of those things, right? And so with me, I'm not necessarily the best lavender fan, but I keep it around. And the reason why is because it's always used for the skin. You can put it on directly on an open wound. You could go into surgery, or I could have people come in with stitches or infections, inflammations. And so I would use lavender all the time for that. And I used it for people when we went fire walking, and things people are bringing them into now is the burn unit. But it also, for any venoms, any stings, it's excellent for. And of course, like I said, always radiation. And again, we don't always think of people or friends of ours that have gone in for the allopathic route and they've gone to the oncology department, they're taking chemo and radiation. Lavender is a very safe thing that you could actually use. And it helps, again, calm down some of the burning and a lot of the different symptoms people will experience. So that's something I wanted to let you know about. Many of the oils work physically, but emotionally and mentally. And I always recommend, if people don't have one, is to get one of these books. This is called the Essential Oil Desk Reference. And this Essential Oil Desk Reference, I would not live without. I have gone through, we're on the what, sixth, seventh, and eighth editions now, but I've got them way back when. So anyone that was in there has been into oils. There's also a little pocket reference in here, which is actually gorgeous. And not only is it just gorgeous, but it's actually colored. And so for those people that don't want to go into the bigger one with a little bit more information, there is always the pocket version you can get. So this is from a company called Life Science Publishing. So these are my go-to. And there's a lot of different ones I've got, over the years, also with David Stewart. So I'll tell you a little bit about my journey with this, which was incredible. Is that after I was nursing, I had a back injury. And by the time I was done going through return to work programs and short-term disability and stuff like that from the injuries that I sustained, by the time I went through the allopathic system, I actually had 2 herniated discs. So they actually doubled it and make it worse, right? On top of everything else. The excruciating pain that I had at that time is paramount to, I would probably have some more children go through delivery again or some dental surgery, but it was excruciating. And one of the things that was afterwards is I started learning about that. And some nurses came to me, and this big Jamaican nurse came up and she says, "We're going to fix you. We're going to take you to duty and we're going to get a little oils on you." And I'm just going, why not? I'm open to anything at this point, and they literally put on probably about 12 oils over a period of basically about 20 minutes. And I couldn't get over that I was actually feeling better. I went, "What did you just do?" It was incredible. And so there's a technique. It's called raindrop technique, you guys. And this raindrop technique is phenomenal. And so you can look it up. Some people call it aromatherapy massage. Some people call it aroma touch or whatever. But this is the actual technique. These are actual books that are probably like 30 years old. And again, it's not about using an MLM. It's not about using even a company. All you want is the grade. So a lot of people can go to, like I said, Navessence to get their oils. Up here we have keyaromashop.ca. We have essential oil available to us. You can go to any amazon.com.ca or whatever area that you have there, .uk. And you can literally get kits of these essential oils that basically you would be getting, 1 to 2 dozen oils. And I'll just give you an example of some of these ones. Again, just grab a kit. They're on Amazon. All you do is you put therapeutic essential oils or organic essential oil kits. And all you want to do is make sure it says therapeutic on your label. If not, you can always phone the supplier. I do. I know all my suppliers. This to me is liquid food. This is the highest form. And this is small enough or micro enough that basically it can go down to the cellular level that we will see a change in your live blood cell in less than 10 minutes. And we've actually seen conditions actually immediately start reversing. It's like time traveling back. And so the potency of this is absolutely incredible. So 1 drop, for example, of our lemon here, essential oil, 1 drop of lemon oil is like you taking 10 lemons. So a lot of times what I'll do is just for a pick-me-up, or let's say if you're drinking lemonade already, or you're taking a margarita or whatever you're taking, or I'm making, let's say, like guac or an essential oil salad, there's nothing wrong with spiking it with a couple drops of lemon essential oil. Now, this is powerful enough to start chelating out lots of things. And what would that be, you want to know? Things like chlorine, heavy metals, plastics, polymers. So this is something that's really potent and absolutely delicious. So I like to actually put, real lemons in there, but also put that in there. But you will taste the difference right away. And especially with all the crap that's coming through air pollution and into the water system, great essential oil to have. So in these are basically my bug in and bug out thing. I have them in the bathroom. I have them on the kitchen. As I said, I use them with all my, I'm cooking and salads could go into, or I make, let's say, essential oils and chocolate. So we will add some of these orange essential oils into the chocolate. And the other thing, here's Karen's secret to her chocolate. Putting orange or peppermint in with a little bit of actually frankincense. So frankincense is an incredible essential oil here. These were considered to be even scripturally. It doesn't matter which basically nation you go into and historical records, essential oils have always been used, and they've been used before the pyramids. So that's why, we were taught that, again, they're through everything. And the frequency is the vibration. That's why even scripturally in there, they would talk about having these oils of spikenard and frankincense and galbium and leadum and cassia, all these different things. The rose of Sharon, very rare oils that I have, that they were actually kept in alabaster. I've actually had frankincense given to me from the Middle East in there, and from Egypt, that was over 4,000 years old, you guys, that was passed down and given me a little bit of sandalwood and frankincense. So it's absolutely incredible. And when you use these kind of tree or very potent essential oils, they're kind of similar but not the same as cannabis. And yes, I've had cannabis sativa and essential oils as well, and damian, all those sort of things, but you're not getting the psychedelic effect out of them. So you just actually go in and you can use them however you want. Like I said, we'll go through a little bit of how to use oils today. I really want to get into the frequency of it. So on there, let's take a look at and go through some of those principles. So let's just start with one today. And I mean, how many people haven't had lemon? And I think we need to take the scare out of people. And, like I said, they go, oh, well, it's got to be pure. I said, most people don't care what, they don't read their stickers on their labels. And one of the very cool things is many, many years ago, I had the opportunity to meet with Dr. Gary Young. And again, these ones were all scientifically documented. He was also a seer, and he could see the energy and the auras all around it. He could see the biofield. So these are the best ways to actually expand your biofield. So if you know what Sabrina Wallace is talking about, and other people like Zesh and myself and all sorts of people, the buzzword these days is biofield. We used to say it was actually the aura, but let's talk scientifically. It is an electrical biofield. You have electrical, magnetic, and biologics in here. Again, these are very much, people will burn frankincense in here, but they come back into, like I said, original scriptures, and you will see a lot of these formulas here on the Temple of Isis. And there's the old crock pots and stuff like that. With still people use it to this day, but these a lot of times were actually the essential oil formulas. Okay, so this sort of lotus that you will see those lotuses still to this day on the different temples and on the pyramids. So let's get into here. And I can go into a lot of things, as people are used to, old or ancient documents. And again, ancient documents are always, and again, they've been misinterpreted sometimes, but there's entire things here on frankincense. And looking at these and looking at the different, scriptures people have used or passages in here. So whether it was Chronicles or Numbers or Leviticus or Matthew, the Revelations talk about it, the Song of Solomon. So if you're into extra scriptures, in there, the Pseudepigraphica and the Apothecra and all the, seeing Gospel of Peace and stuff, a lot of these talk about these in here. So this is something that I think is absolutely amazing in here. And, do not overlook this. And those, scriptures like the hyssop, like the frankincense and myrrh were always done. Women always had them. That was the first thing they put on a child when the child arrived. It was the welcoming gift, and they would anoint everyone. I always say I marinate you because everyone thinks that's funny. But again, therapeutic oils are chemistry. We make sure that they don't have any GMO or polyfillers or food and dye and additive type of things like that, because there are so many different types of plants out here, and you want to have the cleanest. So we don't want things like Monsanto and stuff like that. Okay, because there's a big difference between adulterated and unadulterated oils. So one of the things in here, I just want to show you here, is your limbic system. So if you look right in here, similar to where you see the third eye, you guys here, is the limbic system is responsible for what? Does anyone know here? You want to put a guess? Put it into the chat room. I'll see if you're right. But the influence basically of the oils, one of the most powerful things you can do, like pheromones or anything else, is the sense of frequency or the sense of smell. And so what happens is the limbic system and the amygdala is responsible for what? Where we store all the different traumas. So how many people have had trauma in their life? Stress, anxiety, poor relationships, childhood issues. things like that are stored in there. So this is one of the things. So the amygdala, yeah, great guess, Tanner, but that's wrong. So it's actually where we store. So like a computer, that's where we store our memories. And so we want to be able to take the edge off of that. And so there's an entire art of using essential oils for just the emotional and mental release and getting rid of these negative emotions that we've been carrying on. And some of them are passed down through the family lineages and stuff like that. So I don't know if you know, but only the sense of smell out of the 12 senses, people like to tell you have 5, but that's not true. Okay, so the sense of smell is directly linked into here, into the brain. So you hardwire that stress and it goes in here. So what it does is it actually bypasses your other senses. And so this is one of the best ways to get pain relief and stress reduction, and especially if we want to deal with some of this. So it's through their fragrance. It's got a molecular structure, and that literally crosses the blood-brain barrier. So those are some of the things I wanted to let you know about. And I don't know how many people want to be a little bit more brighter, a little bit better memory. A lot of people have memory issues these days. So one of my favorite oils that I use for that, anyone want to guess? I'll tell you, you usually like chew it. It's peppermint. So peppermint here is actually one of the top oils that is, again, it's very refreshing, but it's really connected to, again, we have a gut, mind, heart connection. And actually, I put some stuff up on my Facebook. There is actually a mind and heart and even reproductive organs. So for women, that means that our mind and our heart are directly connected through the nervous system and through the reflexology and the meridians right to the vagina. And for men, it connects into the penis as well, into your prostate and stuff. Peppermint is one of those ones you just like, oh, and you notice your head goes right back. Okay, it elevates. It's a mood elevator. But in here, I like to do that 2-3 times a day. A lot of people are putting peppermint in their, baking soda, or they'll existing if you've got different type like Jason's or natural toothpaste. They'll usually put it a little bit in the toothpaste and give yourself a mouth freshening. It's also a great way for addictions if you're trying to break coffee, weight loss, and you're also trying to what? Smoking. So any of those people that are smoking or vaping, this is a great thing. It keeps freshening your mouth. And another thing, again, like I said, I can add it into the water, or you want to have a fun experience. Totally different when you have water at room temperature or cold. This is refreshing. It can also help take temperatures down because it's a cooling, and it's a pain reliever as well. And I'll talk a little bit about that in a minute. But literally what you can do, if you switch from water and you do it in tea, 1 drop of peppermint here, you guys, is equivalent to basically 26 cups of tea bags. Okay, that's a lot of potency. So that's why you only need a drop or 2, right? But when actually clients come in here, I will actually marinate them with all these oils and more. So I will actually go in and marinate with them anywhere from 1 to 2 dozen oils. So add that up. That could be anywhere for probably 24 to 40, 50 drops of oils, and just get them marinated, on here. So the only thing I wouldn't use if I was doing a massage would be something, let's say, very potent, let's say like cassia or a straight cinnamon, because it's so powerful, you'll be turning red. And that's why it was used internally as well as a very powerful antiviral, antifungal. These are used for parasite cleansing as well, by the way. So I don't know if you know that, but all these herbs and stuff people are taking, you can get mugwort, you can get wormwood, you can get all these things as well in essential oil form. And oregano, thyme, basil, clove, all those things are very, very potent parasite cleansers. So anyway, that's a little bit about, what we're seeing here. And again, we are moving from taking that plant into an oil form and then distilled again down so that it's going to penetrate the skin. So one of the things, I was talking about is this actually penetrates the skin. So once you put a few of these drops on here, you see it's shiny. If you're really acidic, a lot of times it will just evaporate. Gosh, I love that orange. Anyway, I can make things. Have you ever had those frozen desserts? They're called dreamsicles or creamsicles. We can actually simulate all those things. So even your favorite smells and stuff like that we can do. So orange is a really powerful one as well. And so I'm trying to show you different things here, like peppermint and lemon and lime, things that you're used to, grapefruit. Again, just in the liquid form will become more medicinal. There's very little absorption when you're eating food these days. You probably know that, right? That's why everyone's having to supplement, and even that we're having to supplement on the supplements these days. But all of these are actually, they're been used to kill microbes. Okay, so this is always been the original tribal clan, type of weapon against even drug resistance bacteria. So when people have come to me with MRSA or whatever they think they've got that the drugs don't work, the essential always do. And there's entire studies in here about pneumonia, superbugs, RSV, coronaviruses, all that things, but MRSA and stuff like that, anything that's resistant, candida, yeast, fungus, staph, strep. This should be the number one thing. And if you think I'm joking, there are 150 hospitals in Russia and in England and in Britain using this. Their nurses and doctors are actually writing doctor's orders for them. They use it in France. They will use, and depending on the area, the country, some do it by inhalation, by smell, and just, diffusing it. Others, again, what are they using it? They're putting it in food, they're putting it in water, they're putting it in a massage. However you want to do it, that's it. But I am not joking. These are all the different studies. There are thousands and thousands of studies. And actually, a lot of times I'll go on the internet and look to try and show people alternatives. And what do you see there? Essential oils, thymol. So you might not realize what thymol is, but it's that thyme essential oil that you do, or the thyme that you put on here. So again, you want to use something that is actually a very clean therapeutic level. So I don't know if you guys know, but there are different grades of oil. So we want the top grade up here. It's therapeutic. Then you see organic. Then you start seeing modified, which will say pure, or even in here natural. Those can be adulterated, the lower two levels. And that's the same as your food, by the way, guys. There's your wild food foraged. That's therapeutic. And that's wild. And then basically you would have organic. It may or may not have some contaminants, but we're talking about seed quality. It's all about the seed. It's from like table, going from the garden to the table, or farm to table, whatever you guys think of these days. But in here, that's where you start getting your genetically modified. So when you go into a store of food that is actually healthy, does anyone know what the sticker is? Do you know what the sticker is, the code to look at your food? So when you go to the organic section, you'll see that all of the first number starts with the 9. So if you're looking at food and you go into your tomato and say, hey, I've got a 4, that's down here. That's down at the bottom of the pile. That's been like Monsanto or genetically modified or conventional stuff. So make sure that you read the different labels very, very carefully, you guys. Very, very important. One of the things when you're out at the farmers, and I just love this, I got to do this. So I spent time on the lavender farms, in there, and watching them actually gather them, and harvest them. And then what would happen is that we had to and I got the pitchfork. I was just in here, the gardener, and then we put him into what's called big steam baths. And these are actually 2 stories high. So these vats go way below here, ground, and about 2 stories down. And so over a period of slow steam distillation, like raw foods, right? You never cook or boil this ever, because you will burn all the minerals and vitamins and all the original constitutions that you want it for. And so what you're doing is slow steam distillation, which similar to us, this is raw food. So I don't know if you know that, but I would consider this in my raw food category. And so this is where we can summer harvest, right? So the plants, just like anyone else. Or did you know we winter harvest? So what would be winter harvest, you guys? That's where your trees come in. Your spruce, northern spruce, birch, fir, pine, all those sort of things, essential oils are actually winter harvested. Anyway, so those are very cool. And then what they do below ground when you've got a harvest, this is where the separation comes in, the distillation. So what's going to be slowly steamed down will be that liquid gold. And that liquid gold is the essential oil. So I wanted you to be kind of aware of what we're doing. And the reason I wanted to get into is because we want to use as many parts. So sometimes you're using leaves, you're using the barks, you're using all sorts of stuff. So this is actually the processing that we would use. And that would be slowly steam distilled here, and we'd get our final products out here. And that might take 1 or 2 days. Okay. And some of these plants you can only harvest 1 day or 2 days a year. So take a look at that. This is basically why we're talking about it. Now, again, I don't know why people are scared. But literally, we have something that's called grass certified. And it doesn't mean that we're eating grass, but we could be. It means generally regarded as safe. And so these are things that are approved by Health Canada and the FDA. But all of those different plants, everything I'm going to talk to you about, lemon, lime, lavender, all these essential oils here, cinnamon, are regarded as safe to take internally. Okay, so that's why you want to have a great quality, whether you're in the supermarket or you're getting these from one of those different places I talked to you a little bit about. And again, how can we use them? Okay, most people are unaware. They had about, I think it was 21 ways to do an essential oil. And guess what? I made about another 4 that aren't in here. So again, I just showed you how I put some in here on my hands. The other thing I love to do is to marinate, right? Okay, that's called an aromatherapy massage. The actual technique was, again, coined a little bit and inspired by the Dakota Indians, right? Because they used to do this all the time. And once the borders got put into place, it allowed them to have to stay at home, okay? Because this was done, and you can look up Tartarian and stuff like that and talk to some of the Dakota or up into the what you call Lakota state or into Saskatchewan, Lower Saskatchewan and Alberta. There are a lot of places in there in Manitou and medicine wheels that know all about this. And original hereditaries like clan mothers and original grandmothers and stuff will still know these techniques, but they started doing them energetically. So almost like you would Reiki the massage and pretend that you would have those oils. Or what they did is they started putting, like I said, instead of the oils, when they lost a lot of their distillation through government shutdown and burning and everything else out, is they would take these lavenders, and what they would do is they would grind them into basically like a lavender tea or a lavender powder. And then they would put them into basically fabric. And so they would basically start massaging people and put it with oils or water, and they would actually water them down through the fabric. So it was kind of like giving you a sponge bath with lavender powder and different things along like that to poultice. So quite often, there's a time and a place for all this. So the massage is really important. And again, we do them along the acupuncture points and meridians. So that's really cool. So how many people have had acupuncture here? So a lot of the acupuncturists I know actually dip their needles into the actual essential oil. So it wasn't unusual, not only just to re-sterilize them and keep them clean, but they would do the acupuncture needles here, and they would put them into frankincense, cedarwood, sandalwood. And again, you can cut them down and dilute them like we would see here. But you're seeing basically like acupressure, acupuncture. We could layer them. We could put them into, like I say, compresses. A lot of people, if they do castor oil packs, always add some essential oils. So one of the things I will always do is put at least lavender, frankincense, cedarwood, or some really nice oils on, and then put castor oil and then put a hot wet towel on, or put it with a fabric and then wrap yourself with saran wrap. Also, if you're nervous, put them on your feet. They're just a slower way up. There's nothing wrong with doing a great old foot massage and aromatherapy. So again, I will marinate someone's feet and then literally put on a little bit of carrier oil, and then I will wrap them with hot, wet towels, because I think it's really, really important. So one of the other things a lot of people talk about is essential oil diffusers. And I said, if you can't get a diffuser, then put a couple drops in here and just spray it, right? It's absolutely, and some of it's really cooling. A lot of the temperatures right now, what I've also done is if you've got an oscillating fan, you can dip a little cotton ball or a little Kleenex in some of these essential oils and actually then stick it in between the blades. And so it's actually diffusing it. So that's my go-to when I'm on the road or I don't have something with me. But there are lots of diffusers. I want to talk a little bit about that right now. There's one that you use water for. That's actually called a nebulizer. And there's the incense, which you can burn. But the far one you can see has actually got a bottle here, right? And that bottle is actually a fine mist diffuser. And these type of things can be used for houses, especially now if you're concerned about air pollution, chemtrails. Okay, we've seen what I've identified with my biofield. We are picking up serratia. We are picking up toxoplasmosis. We are picking up things like tryptosani and all these weird, fungal bacteria things that shouldn't be in there, but they're just raining down on our heads with everything, including even some radiation has been found nuclear inhalation particles have been found, like cesium-137. So the reason I'm telling you this is a great way to have a little diffuser. Some people will put it, a few drops in a pot and at least let it steam up, or use it, when children have been ill, you can use a head and a towel, put your head with a towel and boil up some water. And you could put, a combination of your herbs or tea bags, just get a couple tea bags and then add a drop or two of essential oils and then steam it up and use it like a facial. You can also boil it up over the stove like a big soup pot, and then basically we'll have it steam up and you stand over it, right, with a little cloth, or a blanket or a bed sheet, single, double, whatever. So a lot of times they'll do it like a toga party, and then we'll do that. And then, of course, there's the famous yoni steam. So those are some different things to take a look at. And again, a lot of people are adding them into their therapeutic tub soaks that they're using for radiation. A lot of people put them into salt scrubs. So a lot of times I'll get Epsom salt or just Himalayan or Atlantic, whatever salts you have, put a little bit of your favorite essential oils in and add a little bit of castor oil or something like that, or just even olive oil I've used, and make it so that it's a bit of a taste like a salt scrub. Those are great if you're a shower, woman or guy. And otherwise, tub soaks are amazing. So putting in that baking soda, putting in that Epsom salt, putting in that borax, and then add a couple drops of the essential oils as well, and putting that into your bath. It can be just absolutely amazing. And a lot of people are having dental issues. So as I said, you can actually take a tea bag, open it up, put your essential oils in, re-roll it up, and put it like a joint, or like what's called a dental poultice as well. So you're actually making like almost like a cigarette, a herbal cigarette. And I usually cut out about half of what's in a tea bag and reuse it. So a lot of people, just like I said, if you're, hesitant about using some of this stuff, what you can do is actually go on here and put it in your shoes. I know a lot of people use it as a foot deodorizer, or again, just something, just smell nice, or water, but have that in there because again, it's really uplifting. You can use it, like I said, in diffusers, whether it's inhalation or stuff like that. So those are basically just, I think, the simplest ways to use that. And then again, this is really nice. Like when you actually look at some of the different plants, and I realize a lot of people don't know all this. They don't even know what their salad does. If I had to ask you, what does your carrot do, or carrot seed oil? That's actually great for radiation, not just beta carotenes and stuff like that when you're using it for juicing, right, or your eyes. So here's something just to give you an example. Here's another favorite plant. It's called a eucalyptus plant. And a lot of that is absolutely great. I use a lot of eucalyptus as well. I could put it into the shower, the bath, and just have, sprigs hanging down, and it just freshens everything. But eucalyptus is a really nice plant for breathing, for respiratory and stuff like that. And it's one of those really cool little Australian plants. But again, this is the great thing, is that we can have it from all over the world. And there are different types of eucalyptus, like globulus and other things else, and polybracte and stuff like that. So some work more on the upper lungs, maybe the lower lungs. It doesn't matter. And again, I've used it for children. I've used it for pets. I've put it on bison, buffalo. I've put it on cats and dogs. We've even done camels out in Dubai, some of our groups. There isn't any you really can't use. So, but if you are doing it with animals, because their systems are a little bit smaller, kind of like children, for animals, there's probably about 8 or 10 that you don't use. So anyway, I wanted to give you a little bit of information about that. And one of the most important things is, how many people have heard that term? Oh, you're such a snake oil salesman. Have you ever heard that term? Oh, it's just snake oil, right? Well, I'm going to let you guys know. Do you know where that term came from? Anyone want to take a guess in the audience? You want to take a crack at it? Okay, here's a frankincense tree, by the way, guys. So here's the frankincense tree, and here's our frankincense essential oil, liquid gold. Okay, that frankincense tree in the Middle East used to be guarded by a lot of snakes, right? So they had vipers and all sorts of things in here. And it was considered a very dangerous job to go and gather and harvest and forage for the frankincense tree and get the bark and the resin off. So actually, it's a resin they were going for. And then they would actually slowly steam distillation it with some things. So this was considered, they used to trade. So you actually could trade, instead of dollars and again silver. So a lot of people too And I'm amazed. I just offered someone some silver and they actually turned me down. They want fiat currency. So now I got to go exchange everything all over again because they didn't realize the value. I said, did you realize you can go to the Canadian Post Office? I don't know about down the States, but in the Canadian Post Office, you can actually get silver dollars there in collections, right? And I said, this is actually like, lawful tender. It's legal tender, what you're playing with. So anyway, they turned me down. So now I'm going to go send them their fiat paper money. That's fine. I'll keep the silver. And I do. I actually accept that. So people go, Karen, when we have a session with you, how do you take payment, on here? One, there you go. Silver and gold is always accepted in my mail. And you can post it to me anytime for sessions. But the other thing, too, is I have an incredible guy here. So if you've ever been up here, I don't know. So as people think they have bankers, I actually have my silver and gold guy, which is out of Kelowna in that area. And Steve Merrill is incredible. So he's, my go-to. So when the Monopoly game goes down, I like to hang out with Steve. Okay. And again, a lot of people don't realize these are available. And there's a lot to be said for when people said frankincense, gold, and myrrh, right? Some people actually think that the gold was actually many different substances. It could have been the gold or the mana gold or the monatomic gold, or even some people argue that it's urine therapy, that it could have been the stem cells in there. So there's a lot to be said for this. Each one of these, I want you to know, has got something called an ORAC schedule. And that ORAC is an oxygen, basically, determinant. And so 1 ounce of clove oil has got an oxygen reduction capacity of over 1 million, right? So this is the first things to start opening up the cells. And a lot of people, you start seeing how they're using this, right? I wouldn't go anywhere without a couple oils on me all the time, quite frankly. But that's one of the things that you would see. And so when you look at that frankincense tree, it would have an ORAC scale of 610. And I just told you clove is basically 1 million. So why would that clove be so high in oxygen? So those of us that have gone for dental, we can use it in for our mouthwashes or dental wrists, or we use a lot of it for any kind of things that you would use basically hydrogen peroxide for. But one of the things is we use it for dental. So if I ever had to go for dental, I put a combination of my clove oil and my peppermint together in Panaway, and I will saturate the gums over about half an hour before I go to see the dentist. And I've actually done extractions and stuff like that through meditation and essential oils, because clove oil was used for what? Have you ever bit down on a clove? Have you ever had, dental issues or a toothache or anything like that? Is a lot of people know to get those little cloves that they would stick into ham way back when, decorate it. But anyway, the clove was really potent, so you could grind it down and put the clove or chew on a clove thing like instead of tobacco, and it would numb it, and it would actually start reversing some of the periodontal or gingivitis or whatever was causing it. But one of the things is using clove essential oil actually numbs it. So a lot of it for children, for gumming, toothaches and that type of thing, or teething, you could put it in different things and freeze it. So again, that resin, comes from, again, that frankincense tree here. So again, a frequency. So this nugget, obviously in a 3D thing here, right? That is going to have a lower frequency. It's going to dense. So it's a lower, when you're seeing something dense like this, compared to putting it into the essential oil form here, right? As you go through these different stages, what's going to happen is you're also going to change the hertz or megahertz of it. Okay, so that's when we start looking, and that's where I'm going to get into the frequency part with you. So, but because I'm just into my oil mode today, I really suggest you guys get this type of thing. And I'm going to go a little bit through the different ways we can do it. And again, don't hesitate. I told you, we did camels. We've done it for horses. Okay, a lot of horses came down with West Nile and stuff like that, or anything else. They're getting chemtrailed. They're getting fried. And there's something Sabrina talks about too, and I've sent out there too. And I just talked to Professor Engelstein. Actually, he's on right now. So I can't go to his class, but I'm in mine here teaching you. But yesterday I spent like close to 3 hours with him, right? And Sabrina Wallace did some shows with him, but juxtaposition 1. So anyway, these are different things here. We were talking, a lot of people don't realize that there's something called the Internet of Animals. So you got the Internet of Things, the Internet of Bodies, the Internet of blah, 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 digital twinning. They're trying to digital twin everything. So that would include ostriches, right? if someone was going to be really nice and protect animals and ostriches, they'd be using homeopathics or essential oils or herbs. They wouldn't be injecting them with biowarfare and think we should all, have this stuff walking around in our environments. You're sadly mistaken, and will be soon enough. But anyway, here's something that you're looking at too, that again, you can put them on. So there's like a chakra or Reiki take, but lots of YouTubes on this, And one of the things I used essential oils for was actually going in and, with people that had mercury fillings, because a lot of this, or had breast cancer or heavy metal poisoning, because a lot of these essential oils can be put into capsules, and we make aromatherapy pills. And so these capsules in here, what you can do is actually take them orally, and they would start chelating out mercury. And you know what? We had a formula. It was like a Juva cleanse, like a liver kind of cleansing type of thing. And actually with this Juva cleanse, which was made out of celery, helichrysum, the halo of the Christ, helichrysum, which is why it was used for nerves and all sorts of great things, and also combined with ledum. So these 3 oils were put together in a formula. And literally what was happening is people were peeing out mercury within 24 hours. So we know this, it's been proven, it's documented, it's in the medical books. So as we have something in nurses, they call something a compendium book, and it's actually a blue book about this color. And that's actually the pharmaceutical book. That's their satanic little thing, and this is mine. So how's Colin doing? How's it going? Anything new to report for me over there? So one of the other things I'm going to talk a little bit, we all have ears. Okay, I like to do my ear thing and ear massage. This is actually part of similar, not quite like cranial sacral, but your ear, or what's called an auricle, and that's AUR, not just as a psychic oracle, but if you hear properly and you're tuned in here between your 5th and 6th, dimensions, or 5th and 6th chakra, well, you should be an oracle. You should be able to take in that information. And these are basically like our little satellites, right? We're picking up information and sound. And so there, for example, is an emotional ear. So rather than just putting ear seeds on or doing needles or doing that, I would do a lot of essential oils. So frankincense, cedarwood, myrrh, all sorts of stuff. You put them on, get them activated in your hand, and start playing the Yoda moment, right? So again, get your ears. And there's nothing better than lying down and putting this in and doing facials. Doing facial massages, getting in the back of the occipital and doing your cranial sacral. And a lot of times I will actually put it here, and because I still have the frequency on, or you can spray it on and then do it, you will actually feel tingling. You will feel the enlightenment of it. And so we have a physical ear as well. Okay, and there's your aromatherapy to go onto the ears. And in case you don't notice, that looks like a little fetus upside down. So a lot of people in traditional Chinese medicine, it looks like a baby upside down. But these are the different points here for the different emotions. So again, there's your spine. So things to do also: left ear, mother side issues, father side issues. So there's also things that are passed down there. And again, let's say if you've got low blood pressure, you can put essential oils on here, or on your hands, or on your feet. You may have asthma. You want to, again, use the eucalyptus here, things like that. So high blood pressure, low blood pressure, you can use your different myrtles and spearmints and yarrows, when you want to have things and get into hormone balancing. And again, a lot of the stuff here at the bottom, if you've got, let's say, incontinence, or there is issues, let's say, with depression, okay? So think about it. Why are we going to the ears and we're going up here for depression, or on your toes, right? Because the system is depressed. So one of the other things we like to do is something called Vitaflex. So I was trained in Tibetan reflexology. So ours was called Vitaflex. And so all these different oils can be applied on the feet. So if you want to have a headache, you could put it here and on your thumbs and directly on the head. So these are called auxiliary points that you can do on like referred pain. And of course, there's the favorite. We have a thing called the frequencies, called the song of the spine. But there's the spine. So we got a physical, mental, and emotional component. And each one of these here, you might be at 126 hertz and 127 hertz and 128 hertz. But there's all these different, the music, the vibration, and the frequency of the oils. And so this is a really cool thing. So I don't know, a lot of us are in here are talking about what happened with the injections, right? And those injections, by the way, when they went into people, did you know that they store also in the basal ganglion okay, and the facets. But in the basal ganglion, it was known by the University of Edinburgh when this book was out 30 years ago, when I had the original one, that they were finding that this low-gram bacteria was storing and harboring in here, which is the reason why these techniques were developed, because you would now put oregano and thyme and kind of wipe off that virus, that imprint. You want to, remove the computer program. And so we would do that and then layer all the other essential oils in. So it was absolutely phenomenal. And again, palmistry, there you go. There's the oils for the left and right hand. So again, it doesn't matter where you put it, but it's fun, isn't it? And so anyway, if you want to see the original techniques, I teach as well. And I did a lot when I had my offices with chiropractors. And when I was at Attridge Chiropractic in Saskatoon and working with Scott and Kevin and all the rest, and our massage therapist, and Annie, our acupuncturist and traditional Chinese medicine doctor, is that what we were finding is that was what was causing it. So these injuries were being passed down even genetically. And now we were seeing things like scoliosis, sciatica, and stuff like that. So I've actually seen people's x-rays literally change. We literally did that. And that's what I did post-op with mine. So there's no wrong way to put oils on the skin. And if you want, you can dilute them down or put them on the skin and then dilute it down. But Dr. David Stewart, who I trained with at the Center for Aromatherapy Research and Education out of Florida, actually did questionnaires, and all of this was consistent in showing that we were actually improving this. So this is something I use for recovery for those injections, you guys. And so sometimes if the skin gets a little bit red or something like that, you literally just stop the oils and put on some more castor oil. You don't wash it off. Water puts it in. Okay. Doctors don't know what they're doing in Emerge for the most part. So if you want to dilute an oil, you use a vegetable oil or a carrier oil to put someone in there. But again, you can ingest them if you want. I showed you that there's a chart there. And again, those techniques in here, so oregano, thyme, and things like that. And simply just go to the YouTube and figure out which oils to use, right? So there you go. Now, one of the things I combine with this kind of technique is what's behind me here. And these are the tuning forks, you guys, tuning forks. So again, you can also then go to the points, okay, put your essential oils on. So we could put our frankincense on and then use these all together. Okay, so there's another sort of thing that we do. And you're spritzing and cleaning the area, you're cleaning that biofield, and then you're doing the essential oils. Okay, and you're doing them on each side, clearing out here, going through the chakras, going through the meridian lines. You can go through different points. Okay, auricular in here. I just had some done today, and we did along the spine. We got the weighted forks out, and we started having that. I was actually really having a fun time today, actually. So those are things that as well you can combine with essential oils and combining those two different frequencies. So that's another fun thing. And then I'm going to talk to you a little bit about what we do with essential oils and going into the biofeedback, because then I go in and we do all sorts of fun stuff here. And again, I don't care how you massage someone. Frankly, you don't need to go to school. Like, you really don't. It's nice to know anatomy, but let's face it, you're just giving the skin some liquid food. You're feeding the soul from the inside out. So if you want to stick with the foot, just do your soul food there. So one of the things as well is, like I said, is part of the cleansing. And there's an entire protocol in the back here. So this is what books are for. If you're having kidney, if you're having back, you're having hormone, you're having people with MS, you're having people with Guillain-Barré, you're having paralysis, you're having eye, hearing, anything else, there is a formula for you in here. So let me tell you that there isn't probably any condition that you can't look at that you start with some of these different oils first. So like I said, look up your recipe. These are your recipes. Just like you're going to bake a cake, well, you can bake someone and marinate them now too. So I wanted to kind of bring those through to your attention. And again, of the different things that we have here. So we're using this actually for almost everything. There are so many articles right now coming out in the Journal of Medicine that is documented. They just don't want you to know, because, I mean, what's a bottle like this? $5, $10, right? Compared to what they're doing with their laboratories and making things in there. So like I said, there's a whole bunch of stuff in here, and this is what we're using. We are in here. These have been absolutely researched. They've been put under microscopes. And again, that's why they're out. So again, You tell the difference between a grade 1 and a grade 2 versus don't do the grade 3 and grade 4. So those are some of the things, that you need to take a look at. So there's more than enough studies here. These are all the cancer studies, by the way. Did you notice that? Even in the Truth About Cancer that Charlene and Ty Bollinger showed, there's entire sections on this. So I'm going to move a little bit now into another thing. And one of the other options that you can do as well is that a lot of people want to play with Tesla coils. Okay. And Zish, I was just talking to him at 2 in the morning till 4 in the morning the other day. Difference time between the England and here, but that's okay. 7-8 hours. Sometimes people forget I'm on Pacific time. But anyway, these are things as well, similar to the Tesla coils, right? And what you can do is you can run your essential oils. Now, I want you to see very clearly. Can you guys hear that, Colin? Can you guys hear that sound? Do you hear that? Zapping? Okay, that is actually plasma. Can you see that there's actually how the molecules are actually interacting inside? So you can see a violet ray, or you can see argon and different other things, but it goes into a different form. You guys can hear it, Topaz? You can hear it? Okay, so that's another thing you can do for skin and stuff, okay? We can go back to putting our lavender and different essential oils on here. Okay, 2 things, and a lot of people are getting radiation. And do you know, every time you go like this, you smell ions, negative ions. There's ozone coming out of here. Okay, so this is a really cool thing. Okay, and so this is like a very cool zapper. So you turn it down, touch the skin, and then you can crank it up because it's a little bit of a sparky shock. Okay, but I wanted to show you what real things are here. There's something that I'm going to talk about right now that really got my got this week. People contacted me and they're trying to tell me these machines were new. There were things like BioWell I talked a little bit about last week, but also different people that are doing sort of what they call Tesla's machines. And they're trying to suggest that they're plasma and stuff like that. They are now got an idea. And have you heard, how many people have heard like the common law part, right? And you've heard about these PMAs, like private members association, like you're some elite club here going into the Mason and Illuminati, right? So what's happening is that now they've got these private members things. So you pay, do you like this when they do the new age stuff? 111, 222, 555, right? So what they're doing is you're paying $11,000 or $11,100 or $11,001. Regardless, you're now part of a club. And in there, what they do is they give you this technology. Okay, so now they're not technically selling you a device, but they're selling you a membership, which gives you the device, okay, access to the device. So let's be really realistic, right? A lot of these devices, we've broken it down, and I know Tony Pantaresco put a show out called basically Abbott and Costello, but whatever, he just didn't want to name the names, but we know who those people are in the field. And basically what's happening, right, is that you're paying to go into these clubs and you have access to the technology. Well, that technology, when I talked with Zish and we broke it down, and he's got a new Telegram group. I'll put it in some of the stuff here. He's now got with people that are dealing with ether, that are dealing with real Tesla coils. You can get a real Tesla violet ray coil with all the things. And if you think this is for just skin, by the way, and one that you can put in for hair, one you can put into the rectum, this is what doctors did. Okay. This is like Tartarian 1800s, 1900s, which are further ahead, didn't have those diseases. But let's say they want it to do for combing, okay? That's what you're doing. You're putting the combing in here, or let's say dental probes or rectal or vaginal or whatever. They will have sometimes like 20, 30 of these in their boxes, right, that they would use, okay? So they would do basically like Tesla surgery like this. So I would use essential oils too, or crystals, but that's how they actually did in a way. If you think kind of etheric or psychic surgery, it's a little bit more than what you see these days. But what's happening is they're trying to pass off these machines. And a lot of these machines you can make or get the schematics for probably, I would say, $300 to $500. So don't get caught into these things that people are starting to go. So a lot of things I've seen in these supposedly, they're not the truther movement, but we'll say part of the freedom movement, are starting to move people into that. So again, these Tesla coils are available. You can get entire arrays there for sometimes like $500 to $3,000. in there refurbished. And I mean from the original stuff, that those are the original radionic devices and stuff. So anyway, so that's great. So how's Nanette doing? And Topaz and Nina and Marlana, Brent's in here. So those are a few different things I wanted to talk a little bit about, because you're having people that are medical doctors and you have to be able to discern that. And it didn't take me more than probably, I'd say 20 minutes to go through the website and realize this is a scam and this is bullshit when people are doing that. And I don't care if they're friends of mine or not, you're just misleading people. This is disinformation. And actually they were selling it as a plasma Tesla coil, and it isn't a Tesla thing. It's an Uden coil. And when you don't know the difference between Lefkowski and Uden and Tesla and all sorts of things and multi-wave oscillators, you're in the wrong field, right? So take a look at that, because like I said, $11,000 versus you can get it for $300 to $500. You need to wake up and smell the roses here. And I really dislike that when I start seeing that. Or similar to those kind of devices, we've had people put their hands and feet into these different devices with terahertz. And I've had clients go into congestive heart failure that took me 4 weeks just to keep them alive. And they went into congestive heart failure and kidney shut down. And they literally, their legs swelled up overnight from this big to that big, and literally was weeping, and fluid was coming out like blood because they couldn't pee it out or poop it out fast enough. And I don't appreciate things like that. There are a lot of things on the market you got to be very careful of. And there are things like that with terahertz. So take a look at what Sabrina Wallace has done, and also Solana as well. So Solana Fox or Solana 0156 on Odyssey, you can look at. She usually teaches 2-3 times a week, and we're teaching the fun stuff, right? Every little cell, every little hair, every one of these trillion little things you can connect to, just like in a Tesla array. And I want you to go in and actually that way. It's funny as Deanie's going, oh, hi, Karen. She's in the synergy group, right? We're teaching biofield healing, and that's what Solana does. She runs you through a meditation. We run you through a group meditation. And again, silently or do it in a form that's acceptable to you. I don't always have the same language other people do. Okay, so some people use things more religious. That's not always fitting with me, so I have my own version. With whether you prefer, Great Spirit or whatever it might be, or Creator or whatever, go into that thing and start running those kind of ideas, because they're really, really powerful for you. And if you need the links, let me know. So we talked all about this. We talked all about the raindrop technique. You guys, they're just popping in now. So I wanted to talk a little bit about especially oils and frequencies and having fun. That's what it's about. And again, the biofield is out here, right? So let's talk about biofield. So just for the brief minute, so everyone always thinks I'm always about like devices, and I'm not. As you can see, most of this, 90% of this, has nothing to do with actually devices, does it? Just like I said, we can do all this. Okay. And so a lot of times when I'm doing healing, different than Reiki and matrix energetics, I'm actually doing the visualization. I'm imagining you healthy. Or if there's something in there and I can see the block or sense the block, okay, there's no time, no distance, no space in a way. So I can actually access the biofield as a medical intuitive and a seer. Okay, so you can get one of these tuning forks. I've seen them as low as $10, you guys. Okay, very cool. So in here, and those are the books. We are bioelectric, okay? There is no question. And Eileen Day McCusick has done a lot of things called biofield tuning. So go and take a look at that. You want to hear that again? Okay, different frequencies. So again, oils and this and biofeedback. Nanette's going, she can feel them. Okay, so. Okay, I'm also imagining that you guys are here. I know what a lot of you guys look like. Imagining you're in my group, just like when you're doing a Zoom. So I'll probably. So went back for the first time in a couple of years, a lot of years, going back into the field front line and going out to meet with people in the local communities and stuff. So again, these are my protection. Okay, so you can go to symbols, little hand drums, all sorts of stuff in here. And again, that's what we want to do. We want to access the biofield here. Okay, your biofield, in here. So each one of these little biofields has an essential oil. It has a megahertz, and it also has a tuning fork. So this is really cool. Okay, so each one of these open up, by the way. Okay, that's my brochure because most people have no idea what I'm talking about half the time. I have to show them. Your colon has got a frequency. Every part of your colon has got a megahertz and an essential oil. Did you know that? And a tuning fork. Okay, your eyes do, the teeth do. All these vibrations, all the holographic. If you think we're living in a simulation and it's holographic, well, here's the decoder chart. Okay, and that's where you're seeing, I'm showing people, even on the steaming, the essential oils being steamed into people, raising your vibration. And yes, it's nice to have the tech. There's no question about it. So those are some of the things here. And by the way, this is, if you've ever gone to a doctor, well, guess what? That's what I actually go check off. That's my intake. That's my actual physical exam on someone. And then I've got, as you can see, I'm looking at people. I'm doing the iridology and sclerology on people, right? I'm looking at tooth, do your teeth missing, and then of course, as always, I'm talking to you about the pH. So getting that pH chart, getting the litmus paper. And like I said, start where you can. You can put the oils orally through the tongue. Okay. There's also tongue diagnosis and stuff like that. Not at all assessment. So those are some of the cool things. So that's kind of fun. So does anyone have any questions in there? I'm going to go a little bit more. One of the other things too, when we talked a little bit, is releasing emotional patterns with these essential oils, okay? The essential oils are really, really important. Now you can go back onto YouTube. I also trained with Dr. Carolyn Mean. These were one of the first things out here. And you can get these books or take a look on YouTube. Okay, so before you want to get anything, go take a look. See if there's also a free PDF. The essential oils can be placed on, you got it, acupuncture points and biofield meridians. Okay, so it's one thing to spray the essential oil out here. It's a different thing to take the essential oil and then apply it on the skin or the acupuncture point. Okay, so a lot of times that's what I use the scanners for. And so one of the things, there's an affirmation. So we talked about lavender today. So I'm going to just show you in this book all the wonderful things that lavender can do. Okay, so we talked about different components. So this book is divided in either, if you buy the oil, how can the oil be used emotionally and get rid of the, again, stuff that's clinging on. So if you have like abandonment issues, there could be small intestine issues, right? So you have the physical body, that's where it's actually injured. You can also then go into the affirmations. So if you have one, let's say like you feel abuse or abandonment, okay? Then you have all the negative emotions. So how many people know about neuro-linguistic programming, tapping, the gamut, touching stuff? Do you know about Louise Hayes, where, again, negative emotions are stored in the body, as some people like to think. So if you got liver issues, you could be more susceptible to picking up anger or other people's angers. Again, it's a weakening in the field in the 200 to 300 hertz. So these are the ones in here. So it gives you, and of course, I do it in your mother's tongue. So I would take this book and convert it into whatever you spoke, Russian, German, whatever your language was, Cree, Nahiawak, Dakota, Italian. So switch it over here. And so one of the things here for abandonment is, what's the opposite of abandonment? So we would say atonement, at one mint. So anyway, the way out, or the affirmation, your positive thing is, I embrace all of life's experiences. And you use the oil called lavender. So I'm going to hold this up. I know it will be a little difficult to see here. And then it gives me a bunch of charts here. So what I've got here is, it says abandonment. I embrace all of life's experience. I'm going to use the oil lavender. I'm going to put it on the different alarm point for the different small intestine. And then there's a code. And in the code, it goes back to the code book. And that code book tells me to go to chart E, F, G, and H. So let's go to E, F, G, and H in the back. Okay, so there's so many different ones we can go into. It's not even funny. And again, you can never go wrong with going on the ear chart or the foot chart for reflexology. So in here, but we're going to go to chart EF. So we have one for all the head, one for the auricular, And then we're going to go to all the different charts here. So now we're going to apply, where does the small intestine go? The small intestine here shows that it connects into the hip area. So we're going to apply the oil here. And what we're going to do that's really cool, so I want you to imagine that you have this lavender essential oil here. So there's our lavender plant. We've converted to the lavender essential oil. Okay, there's your lavender essential oil. So I want you just to imagine, now we're playing with matrix, now we're playing with the fun stuff. So I want you to imagine smelling this lavender, okay? Can we all do that? Give me a yes or thumbs up in the chat. Can you guys imagine this? I'm showing you the lavender. It's like, show me the lavender. Instead of show me the money, show me the lavender. Okay? So now what we're going to do, I'm going to show you how to do an emotional release. We're going to put that lavender in our hands. Exactly. We got it. So again, imagine you got the lavender. If you got lavender at home, even better. Get the real lavender out. If this is what you're doing, run to your cupboards. Go get the lavender. Okay? The lavender augustifolia. Okay? And what we're going to do, we're going to apply it to our hip area. How many people have had hip pain? Achy hips, low backs. We're going to put it on here, and we're all going to say, not I, we're going to go to we. We embrace all of life's experiences. Okay, keep doing that. Close your eyes. We embrace life experiences. Yell it out to me. We embrace life's experiences, okay? That's what you're doing. Now that's using the mind as what this sound of lavender really sounds like. Okay, so isn't that cool? Marlene, are you getting some of this? This is great. Brett Scott, he goes, I've got several big lavender plants in my yard. Okay, pull some out. Dehydrate it. Put it in the water. Let it smell. Put it in the bath. Get it on. Get it in a poultice. Put in some powder with some oils and massage in. So one of the things we're going to do is that the genius has got, actually, I'm working on someone right now too. I'm playing in their biofield. So you can see a lot of clients too sometimes will have, I'm seeing a lot of black goo, these guys, okay? A lot of stuff these days. A lot of people taking ivermectin. And you know what? I had 2 clients this week. You know what happened when their oils, when they turned black? They were doing combo and frag venom medicine. I don't know if you know about combo, but wow, does that not look better? Whoa. She's going to be happy with me. No, she should be happy with herself. Okay, so one of the things in here, like I said, is getting some energy. This was actually out in grade. I said, you've been hanging out with grays or what? Because I said, you know what? When I showed you that original one here, just to go back to that, when you see an aura that is that, okay, that's called loosh harvesting. Okay, that's biofield. That's soul sucking. That's psychic vampirism. Okay, so we were trying to clean that. That took me, these people these days, it's taken me not 5 or 10 minutes anymore, or half an hour, an hour. It's taken me 2 to 2.5 hours to clear them in the last couple of weeks. Something is wrong. Okay, one of the other things, and again, there is, look how gray that is. That's loosh harvesting. That's what they're sucking your energy being around these people that are got the injections, you guys. Okay, so 2 hours it took to clear that today. That's 4 hours I spent on 2 people just to clear them back to that area. Okay, that is a lot better than the other one. Don't you agree? So again, a lot of people I'm seeing stuff, and then we're going to give people their charts and tell them what herbs or what oils, or in this case, this is a spinal chart, by the way. I don't know if you guys can see here. That's a spinal chart. Can you see where it's telling what the damage is here to the sacrum, to the coccyx, to the L5, low back pain? Okay, so I actually provide reports after that. But we're going to go in here, and here is a chart for the essential oils that the client needs. So there I can actually tell you which ones to get. Eucalyptus in there, the Douglas firs, whatever. So this is what some of the best ones are for the issues that are acute in the red and the causes in the blue. So a little bit of everything. So we're going to go in. How many people have ever heard the frequency of lavender? Have you guys ever heard that? You've heard about hearing the sound of the sun, the sound of the moon, the sound of the planets through gongs. So now what we're going to do, I'm going to go in and we're going to do a lavender sound. So you guys are ready? So we can do the plant, and they have different tones, right? So we're going to go in here, and I'm going to find some lavender. Where's my lavender? Ooh, the lavender. Okay, there's the lavender. Okay, so we're going to get your lavender. We're going to move it up into here. Okay, so I'm going to put it into the tray. So we've moved our lavender into the tray. And we are going to have the pure frequency of the lavender. So I'm taking the lavender here. Okay, lavender. And moving it up into the tray. And there we're going to have the sound of lavender coming through to you. Okay, so here we go. You guys are ready? So I want you to imagine the lavender. And we're putting the lavender all into a sound now. Okay, so is this not cool? Here's your lavender, you guys. Here's the essential oil of lavender and all this. Very cool stuff, isn't it? So let's just actually listen to the lavender. Listen to the creator's voice whispering to you of lavender. So we're cleaning the biofield. There we go. That's our lavender coming through. So you tell me when you start feeling it. So usually takes a few minutes, just like you put an oil in that goes into the skin within minutes, and we can see in the blood, it takes a few minutes, about 5 minutes for it to actually penetrate into here. So should we try that? Sounds like wind chimes. Well, I actually can change that. If I gave you the real sound of lavender, it can sound like screechy. So this is actually converted into a nice sound. So I can make it sound like nature. So we can make a nature sound of lavender, or we can make it sound like wind chimes. Otherwise, we can do pure isochronic tones, and you don't always like those. So I actually can change that if I want within seconds, by the way. This is many different voices in one. So if I wanted to just give you basically what the actual sonic sound is, I could switch it to that too, you know. Okay. That's the isochronic sonic sound of it. Nanette's saying she can feel it. So we add a few more things today, Ann. Okay, there's also another kind we can do of sounds here. So you can bring things into, again, sound and combinations of stuff. That's called an archetype sound, an activate, an encoding, and then we can just use different generators. So again, depending if I want, you could have an alternating or the square wave or a sine wave or a sawtooth wave. So I have 4 different generators in here as well. And then let's say if you were feeling a little tired, we could put in a little inner bliss. We could put a little bit of sleepy rain and increased concentration. And now we'll actually play a little bit more. But how about we do a couple more for you? So in here, let's do an entire aromatherapy. So let's take all these 30 oils. Should we do that? Okay, so let's just do this page, which is just all our essential oils. So you tell me when you can feel that vibration. Okay? Anyone feel it? Deanie's noticing it. Annette's noticing it. Let me know when you can feel that. It's slow finger too. Hi, Karenann. I just noticed the love. I can feel it. Greetings from Caledon, Ontario. And greetings to you from the Sinai Kootenays area here too. Nanette's feeling it. Okay. So do you know what else I can do? Okay. I love oils. So let's say I just want it to go into, how many people like Young Living? Okay, or doTERRA. I have actually all of Young Living, or every essential oil supplier I have in here. So let's say I want it to look at one of my favorite oils, which is from Navessence, and I want it to give you what basically those mountain spring oils feel like. So let's say, how about we give you the sound of the pink lotus? Should we do that? Would that be kind of fun? So why don't we find those oils, and we're going to give you some of the ones. Actually, I'm going to give you all of the Navessence today. So we're going to give you Radiate, Renew. And if you like the oils and the frequencies and sound, then basically let's try that. So this is the sound of all these oils. You should see my essential oil libraries. Wait till they start going public. So if you want to get them, call me now, because you're going to get a better deal than what the company's going to start charging you for. So if you want, give me a email on Facebook or Telegram or Twitter, or clanmother13, KLAN mother13 @gmail.com. So those people that actually have essential oils and you want my libraries, you better call me. Okay? Because I'm working on some. I've got about 40, 50 to start going out in the next month. Okay, so these are some of the ones that I'm doing. Can you guys feel this? Cheryl, can you feel this? Okay, that's the difference. Why are mine different than just getting a lot of them from other people? Because I spent all the time imprinting them all. So you are getting these oils all imprinted off here. You can feel it in your lower back, 100%, she goes. 100%, yes. Okay, so that's the difference. Okay, so you guys are all getting a genius session, right? With a little bit of fun here. So again, what can we use as well? Then we can use all of our oils and stuff too, right? Look at the combinations. I can put this on the stand and go over you with oils and go over you with massaging and go over you with tuning forks too. Speaking of that, that is just absolutely incredible. Okay, so this is the Pink Lotus. Let's just listen to that Pink Lotus spray here. Okay, you can do that as well. So having said that, we can go into the Pink Lotus and just do that particular one. Now I'm going to show you another thing. So those people that do have other bottles existing. So a lot of people, let's say if we wanted to go in here and let's listen, should we listen to all the Young Living blends? There's an idea. And we're going to do all these ones. By the way, did you know we converted this book as a library? And that's one of the things I'm doing in here. So I'm actually going to give you the essential oils in the emotional part here. So we've got Young Living oils. And what we're going to do, we're going to put them on these testing points. So this entire book, we're going to give you legacy on the connector point. We're going to give you that lavender we showed you on the hips for the emotional point here on the small intestine part. Okay, so those are some of the things here. So all those different things. So Young Living is going to go on the small intestine point, and we're going to give you these emotional ones. So let's try an emotional release. Okay, let's try this for a few minutes. You guys ready? Oils, frequency. Okay, oils and frequency now. Now we're playing with fun stuff, guys. So there's your emotional release book here. Okay, so we got the emotional release book. There's the herbs and the oils, and now we're cooking. Is that cool? So you tell me when you feel something. Let me know. Put a heart in this time. I'm going to dare you guys in a minute. I want to see a really big, juicy heart. So see if you can do a little heart there and see what we've got going. Love works too. Love is a frequency. Love has been identified in the energy of the heart chakra in the 400 hertz. There you go. Christy Bell's here. And that said she can feel it too. Okay, so all these oils are being given to you. You've probably got about 40, 50 oils on there. Okay, indigo dragons in the house. Okay, so let's go back. Who has ever had, so we talked about frankincense a little bit about that too. I have all the scriptural oils. How many people have read those books? Okay, any of the books I talked about. Okay, there's the Seeing Gospel of Peace. You've got the Book of Enoch, which is another great one. You've got Moses. You've got the extra books of Moses. You've got the Doctrines and Covenants, all those things, scriptures and stuff like that. So how many people have ever heard all the oils of the scriptures here? I'm going to put them in. So again, more oils, more fun. So there's all your frankincense and other stuff coming through right now. Very cool stuff. Okay, and then, does it get better than that? Okay, so let's say I was going to do some aromatherapy. What I could do is put this on my plate here. And what we're going to do is we're going to run all those oils. And we are going to go into here. And we are literally going to run all the oils together. And we are going to now put all this in. Okay, so now we're going to put this in on the plate. I'm going to imprint my plants, imprint my oils, and away we go. And then once I've re-imprinted this, after 10, 15 minutes, Then I can give it to the client. So we can do water. I could use crystals, all sorts of cool things. So there's a very low. So do you guys notice that can you hear the tones very low? An extremely low frequency. Can you hear it's barely a hum? Is it coming through okay? So it's very, very low. That's called extremely low frequencies. And again, when you know about your hearing, like a microscope, we have limited audible hearing, right? Dogs hear, right? Dolphins hear. You don't hear. They hear. This can go and access the ranges of those frequencies. So a lot of times when I'm doing things, you'll see dogs or cats come in. So we have actually animal ones too. So again, this is something, and again, I know there's a few people that do have the Genius Biofeedback or the Odyssey or the Bio Vibe and about another 10 things that we have in here. Okay. But if you've got biofeedback, a lot of people don't know we have actually body viewers. I don't usually show it, but today I am. Okay. So this is one of the things in here you want to take a look at. This is what a body viewer looks like. So the sound will come through. And the most prevalent thing that's coming out with right now is a 528. It will run through the aura, but this is great for meditation, for people that are visual and they want to see what's going on. You can see the waveform working. It also reinforces through the matrix energetics. So this is showing how you do holographic healing, biofield healing. And again, you're not hooked up. Did you guys notice you guys were all feeling that and you weren't hooked up at all? We didn't put any bracelets on you. Okay. We didn't put anything even touching you. This is just the pure sound. This is the focused ultrasound. And so right now it's going through all those different acupressure points and acupuncture lineages, right? So again, you can access, and once you learn how to play with this, we got the Princes of TC here. I think I want to know what TC stands for. But anyway, that would be cool. So tell us what the Princes of TC. I don't know what TC is. I didn't even know you're on the channel today. It's nice to see you guys here. So this is some fun stuff in here too. So there's something to do. So Indigo Dragon and Prosperity. You want to do something really fun. There's your indigo. There's a little dragon energy for you guys today. So again, changing the sounds, changing that frequency is changing one individual at a time. So I am going to put a link in here. I'm going to put the link before. Isn't that cool? The cat ran out of the room when he did the tuning forks. Again, look at the auras, right? Look how this is affecting people in here, right? You know, that's getting into your higher vibrations, right? Look at what we can do with people. Okay. No drugs. This is totally drugs free. Okay. Okay. There again, it's designed for the individual. You're all getting the benevolence of it. And I'm actually doing distance therapy right now. I'm doing a remote healing, a remote biofield assessment, and an attunement on someone distance. Now, Slowfinger's got an interesting comment. After sitting outdoors with nature sounds as night fell, these sounds are a real topper. And again, I can move it into nature sounds if you want. I just got the chimes on. I just find most people, but there's something in there I can change the sounds. So I have a little bit of a soundboard here that we can play it for. But I find this really works quite nice. So that's something I wanted to bring to your attention. So we talked a little bit, like we said, we talked a little bit our Tesla and our violet rays and stuff. Okay. Always handle this with care. Always make sure you put the right end in or you'll find it, right? Again, combinations. Okay. All sorts of things. We talked about the oils. We talked about all our tuning forks. I don't know where your cat's gone, but we're going to do it again. Okay. Look at the combinations of what you're doing here, right? All this stuff can be done here, you know, at the same time. Okay. I'm ambidextrous. I'm also female. I multitask, and I'm sure lots of guys can too. But look at the difference. See what we're doing here? Okay. Use combinations of therapy. Different things work for different people. Is this not incredible here? You know, I just love doing this. I mean, not only for myself, but for my clients. Okay. And assess your clients. So there you go. Okay. Lots of fun here. Okay. Okay. So does anyone have any questions in here? This is my question and therapy and answer thing too. So we talked about the oils. I showed you some of the books I use. Most people have never seen, again, radionic equipment or using some of these different books. You know, I suggest people get some Rife books, you know, on Amazon or whatever. And I think we're going to have a little bit of fun. And so one of the things I wanted to do is show you again another hydrosol I've done. This is for pain. I've actually got, and I played, and by these are my libraries, by the way. So if you want my Genius libraries, get a hold of me, because there are lots and lots in here. Okay, I've got radiation, past life, in here, my lab, TI, 5G, 6G, 7G, all those things. I've got a really cool vaginal yoni fertility aphrodisiac one I'm doing right now too. All those things in here. I've got venoms, your top 200 venoms, and about your top 100 remedies for anti-venoms, for anti-hemorrhagics as well. So there's lots of things you can use. This is a very cool tincture I've been playing with. I just love it. It's my new thing. You can put it on anywhere that you're sore. You can even put it on teeth, like this, if you're having dental or periodontal. Actually, it just tastes great anyway. But it's got DSMO in it, and it's got menthol. It's got actually cinnamon in it, like a thieves, and it's got your peppermint and all the different fir and pines and birches in here. And I find DSMO works best actually with things like birch. So this is a really cool little formula I came up with for pain. So this is something, if you're interested, let me know. So anyway, we're going to do some more things, and I'm going to do one more or two things for this evening. Anyone have any more questions? Deanie says, thank you, Karen. Nanette says, it's really incredible. And I'm glad everyone's having a great day. So again, I talked to you a little bit about spike your things. I like to doctor up my things, and this is how I spike everything. This is my anti-spike, just to say spike everything, but putting some of your peppermint in, or your lemon, put this in with some cucumbers or whatever you want, ginger, enjoy the day, and to the best of all our health, right? Mm-hmm. Brett's got a question here first. I got a back molar it is disintegrating over the last 3 months. I think one of those things, like I just showed you the formula I did, putting the clove oil on, doing biofeedback. So each one of these I mentioned earlier too is a tooth meridian, right? So the entire dental tooth meridian. So look up your tooth meridian charts there, Brent. Okay, find out where it's connected to, which organ. It's usually digestive, but those are things that you can take a look at, okay? So converting all these like tooth meridian charts, tongue analysis, traditional Chinese medicine. I did an entire Pachakarma, for doing that, for Ayurvedic medicine, because there are many things that they will call in the Pachakarma language that we would do. A basti to me is an enema or a colonic or colon hydrotherapy. So there are words that, we can use or just convert them over. So I think those are really, really important. So again, take a look at these, get forked, you guys. Okay. Really have some fun, play with some of this and play with the combinations. Like I said, I think it makes a big difference when, you can use combination therapy. No one thing works for everyone. And that's one of the fun things. I'm feeling in the mood. I should do someone here. What you can do if someone's not shy or wants to volunteer, I'll do a quick demo here on them. So if you want to put in your full name and date of birth, and if you don't want to do it here, you can run it to my email. So you can run it quickly to clanmother13@gmail.com. I'm going to do a quick demo, and I'm going to show, because I know I've got a bunch of people in here in the house that has a bunch of devices and biofeedback. So I'm going to show you a quick thing to run here. So if you want, for 2-3 minutes, I will check that. So you can either be brave and put it in to the chat room, and preferably someone that I haven't done, but even that, we can just do you as a demo for fun. So if you don't care about that, so you can run your information right now to the clanmother13@gmail.com. And you can put it in there. And I'm also going to put my, if you guys want to test this out, like if this is exciting you about what you felt to even experience with just those few oils and lavender and stuff that I was doing with you, is that basically you can run it to my email or to my Facebook, or if you want to try this out for free, I can get you a manual. But if you go to this site, it will show you training, and just scoot down. I've got training. I've got videos you can watch here too. And then one of the other things as well, if you want to go into, would be putting it in to, have you got a phone, iTab or Yeah, let's put it into a phone, an iPad, or a tablet. But I'm going to run that. I will check my email if someone's not putting it in there. We will look within a second here and to see what's going on. And I feel like doing a little demo here. I'm also going to put into our live stream here. There we go. Someone's brave. I like that. There's also the code, so you can go look at how to do training. So we're going to do Marlena and Brent. Brent got this in first. Okay, so I'm going to show you, and I don't know if Net and those guys are in here too. They're going to see how to do one really, really quick. Okay, so this is really amazing. So what you do, it's kind of like smudging. We clear out whoever's in there. You don't have to keep clients. You can erase it on the spot. You don't have to do anything. You can actually just screenshot stuff and send them basically an email of their aura. So we're going to put Brent in here just quickly. And I can do it with or without the sound, or with doing some of the different your pictures and stuff like that. So this is kind of a fun one, and we'll just see what it is. I'm going to show you how to do a really quick demo, you guys. So what you do is I'm typing in basically who you are, virtually what the name is, and it's got date of birth, and we're going to scroll that. So I'm going to put that in here. Oh, look at, I got the 7 already. Yeah. Okay, and then we're going to go to the right year. So basically what we do is we're going to scroll this in real quick. Okay, and then I can put in people's email. So if you send an email to my email, I will keep some of this so that you can have it rather than having to screenshot on here. Put the right dot. I know people are confused these days, but we only have 2. There could technically be 3, but it's not in here. So we're going to hit done. I'm going to go into here. And basically, when people think, you can have an extra thing if you've got allergies, you got digestive, there's any depression, memory, you want to sleep better, you got little achy pains, whatever it is you choose, and it will have extra preloads for you. And so what we're going to do is we're going to go into here, and either you can say the vowels A, E, I, O, U. So I could also, we'll just kind of do it like a proxy. So I am a friend of Brent Goodine, and we are going to do a healing center and a healing tone and a healing vibration and a scalar Rife radionics through the Genius Biofeedback for Brent today. And we wish him to have the most benevolent health that we can. So you can actually see how the voice was going. That's called a trivector. So we are not on binary computers like most of your stuff that's out there, by the way. This is proprietary, and it was developed with over 40 Russian scientists when it first came out, and with Ryan Williams at Insight Health Apps. So we're going to go to next. And you can see how you got a voice imprint, by the way. That's unique only to that individual. If you got a cat or dog, they've sent me purring things. So there's another thing in there. And again, we can take a picture. And so I can go into that teeny weeny little picture of you, or go into Facebook and get your bigger ones here and cut that out. Okay, and we can crop things like that. And we could use those pictures. And we can crop that some more and get you so that I'm not in there. And it will still pull off the energy signature. So you can go off recent ones, old ones, whatever, and have some fun. And so are you excited to see what's going to come up for you? Because I'm not going to like embarrass you or say anything weird. So we're going to go to next. And you can put affirmations in like we talked about, or something that you want to work on. And we are going to have some pretty cool stuff. And I guess we can also, by the way, put things in through light and sound technology. And I'm going to talk about it. I just got my new neurovisor back in today too. So there's lots of things we can do. We can also run it through these neurovisors. And these new neurovisors, by the way, you can actually put light, sound, and stuff in here. So you don't have any too many. Well, we got enough in here. So you ready? I just lifted off what you had there. So within about 15 seconds, we are going to see the energy in the biofield of you. Are you excited? Okay. So this is everything. Remember we showed you that biofield. It goes out. That extends. That's your whole life in a color. It's like a technicolor kaleidoscope of your entire life. Is this swirling vibration of color, light, and sound and frequency. And there we go. So there's one here. If I pull you out of here, okay, a little bit of gray, a little bit of rust. We're going to work on that. We're going to open that up a little bit there. Okay. And there looks like there should be some lower pain in there, inflammation. There's some stuff going on there. Okay, and then we have another one in here so we can see it with different blocks. So I'm going to see there's definite things going on in the knees, both sides. And then there's something over here, especially on the left side. Again, we want to improve that. We just want to see a general improvement. So anyway, I'm going to do something really, really quick here, because I'm going to show you how quick I can actually do someone and read them. I can read this and have a therapy and have you in therapy in less than 5 minutes without a prescription. That is cool. He goes, I know plenty of things. Talk to me later. Okay. And I am live, and I think she knew that. So anyway, we are going to go into here. Okay, we're going to go into what I call general overview. I just hit here, and we're going to hit all the top thousands and thousands of thousands of issues, and then I can read it in a second. So I'm just going to put all the top red causes and all the blue bottom line causes. So all the symptoms and the causes are now in here within seconds. And then if I want to go back in and I want to look at it individually, so I can look at the essential oils that you need. Okay, white fir, tangerine, and cinnamon, and marjoram. Okay, we can look at the infections. There's an overload of fungus and other things. We can go into today's stress, fungus, allergies, pathogens. Okay, brain, liver. So it will tell me in order of what we're looking at. Then I got the herbs for you, which will be chamomile, catnip, and milk thistle. And then we're going to look at your spine and digestion. And so as we go through here, you're seeing pinched nerves and inflammation. Oops. Right? So if I wanted to just play chiropractor with you, I could just do chiropractic right now. Okay? So we might want to do that and just straighten things out and get your fuse box and get your vertebrae back into alignment. So how cool is this? Okay, so we're pulling out the individual vertebrae that need to be tuned in with the frequency. He's going, yep, lots of things. So those are some of the things we could work on. Or again, I like to play traditional Chinese medical doctor, or we could look at the chakras, the biofield, the energy coming off the body. And then it's saying, hey, we want to really work on this root chakra. So there's a lot of stuff in the inner core of there that we're working on. So there's the chakra part there. Let's play the traditional Chinese medical doctor. And there's actually, you got quite a few things going on. He goes, please, my lower back's been killing me for 3 weeks. I just told you, start taking baking soda water, soak in those tubs, get about 5 or 10 essential oils, start putting them on, one of them being peppermint, and then put a hot wet towel in, okay? Give yourself your own foot massage, aromatherapy foot massager, just put into the lower back, okay? In here, lower back is related to the different organs, but all 12 organs by the time it gets down in there. So we want to do things as weird as it is, enemas, colonics, even a herbal colon hydrotherapy, which is a herbal parasite cleanse in here. But a lot of the large intestine here and small intestine, that's related to low back pain. So most people don't know it's referred. So we're going to put that in here. Now you mentioned you have pain. So I'm going to go to my pain section. Should we give you some pain relief? I can type in everything I want for pain. So everything I know in the world that's related to pain or to vertebrae. So that tincture, the first one that says there, it says Karen's. You see it says Karen's liniment. Okay, I'm going to give you my own special stuff here. So anything to do with back, hips, sciatica, pain relief, all those things are just going to be dropped into here. And we're going to start doing that as well. So again, you can put entire categories in here. Okay, so it might be like deep blue that we have with different things. Is it the sciatica? Is it the hips? Are you experiencing things like numbness, pain, whatever it is, we're going to go in here. So we could just do a pain relief issue here. You know, is there more paralysis? Is it tinging, whatever it's doing? So now for fun, we're going to put all these things together and we're going to give everyone a pain thing. Everyone want to have a little bit less stress. Okay, so what we're going to do, we are going to go in and check all those things off. And for about 3 minutes, we'll give you one. So if you want, you can just rewind to this part and keep playing it. So that's what we're going to do. Let's run that for you. But this one's for you, Brett. Okay. So it's tuning in to him. But what he's going to do is he's going to let us know when it starts penetrating in there, when he starts feeling something different as his biofield. Okay. So take a look here. We're going to give it about 3-4 minutes here. Had sciatica for decades, broke my neck in 2002. Well, you know what? One of the top people I ever did, this is open information, is Patriot Parabellum, Dean Musar. Ended up getting one of these because I did a session for him for half an hour. and he had no pain. It was the first time since he was 12 years old. He fell off a shed and crushed all his vertebrae when he was a little boy. And he cried with relief, and he got a machine the next day. So a lot of these, by the way, if people want, there just happens to be a July special, which I've never seen in my life that he's done like this. But for $47 down, you can actually, that's your first payment, and pay that over the next year, and you'll own the basic version of what I'm showing you here. So take a look at that. Okay, so this is going in. We're working on some of those issues, and it's going to be extremely high frequencies, extremely low. You can hear it's a lower hum, right? And those are the tuning forks that you want to go into. You want to go into these tuning forks that are lower. You want to get tuning forks. You want to get oils like Valor. Okay, all those things can be used to work into the different megahertz, like 40 to probably about 200 megahertz. So combinations, herbs, oils, always make sure you're alkaline or everything just doesn't get absorbed. So that's something in there. So let us know in the audience if everyone's noticing a little bit of tingling and stuff like that, because I think it's really, really important that we see that kind of stuff going on. Because like I said, it doesn't have to be that way. Things can be readjusted. I had back surgery. I know what it's all about, which they botched, but that's another story. That's what got me into this stuff, right? So take a look at this, okay? So we're going to do that. So even that, we can imagine taking Brett, putting the essential oils. So everyone in the audience, we're going to do a little matrix here. We're going to do pretend with Brett. We're going to send him good vibes. We're going to just pretend in our eyes that his back is all straight. So imagine him with a straight vertebrae. We're going to clean out the oils on the side. We're going to get our tuning forks and clean his auric field. Okay, take a look at him on there. Okay, and just imagine as we take this is your spine, so you can move on the lower part of the spine, getting especially those weighted tuning forks. Okay, that's how you do it. That's how you do group healing. Is this not cool? Okay, so are we having fun? Are you guys learning something? Yeah? Something new, something different you haven't learned in class before? What did you say is happening, Brett? You are, whoa, feeling is tingling in the head. Wow, that's a great place. Sometimes things have to start up at the top. Again, you're going to start with new ideas, new information, so we can clear out old ones. So again, things can be left on as long or as little as you want in there. Okay? So take a look at it. Okay, thank you, Nikki. Someone just called me, what's going on here? Okay, I'm someone who happens to have my number here. Holy, we'll just say F, Karen. You're getting attacked. Your neck and eyes and red are turning red in here. I also put some essential oils, by the way. What you did see, that's not an attack. I actually have cinnamon essential oil and DSMO in here, and I put it on me. So no, it's not the attack. It's actually my formula here, okay? I've got some heavy duty stuff in there. We all in life, it was not red at the start. No, because I put my stuff on. That's me. I got the oil kit out while I was rubbing. Okay, here we go. We embrace life's experiences. Amazing learning session. Thank you. 100%. That's the Nikki thing. I got my oil kit out and started rubbing it in while you were teaching. Can you please get me a link for your white plasma machine? Yes, I can. I would like to order one. Okay, that's not mine, but I'll tell you, this is not the $2,000 Tesla thing. It's about $100. It's called a portable high frequency. It only has 4. They use it in the beauty industry. It's not exactly, but it works. You can smell the ozone and it still works. And guess what? All my adapters go into the actual Tesla machines, the original ones. They actually retrofit. So it may not be there, but it's probably does, I'd say about 80% of what that does. It's still a version of it. Okay, there's always another version. Oh, by the way, we're doing some stuff in here. Okay, so that's really great. And it's, oh yeah, you're getting red on the screen. I'm crying now. Wait till you watch your things. You were not red at the start. So yeah, just to clarify that, people are talking to me in here. Yes. So anyway, is that not fun? Okay, so look at the visualizations. Okay, that's part of matrix energetics, and I'm actually part of the maybe part of Sabrina and doing the people within here, but I was part of Matrix Energetics with Dr. Richard Bartlett, who unfortunately just passed, which has been like disturbing me all week. Take a look at Matrix Energetics. So again, we're going to kind of do that biofield thing. I'm going to take you to a new thing. What did you say? Okay, scream it out. Brent Goodline now says, I can stand up without groaning. Thank you. You good woman, you. Okay, wow. Are you guys hearing what's going on? Okay, this is tuned into him. Okay, so we're doing all the above. Okay, so we're using sound, vibration, but we were remoting in directly to him on his energy signature. That's how powerful this is, which is cool. Okay, my thoracic back pain is smoothed out some too. Yeah, absolutely, because all these things are helping you guys as well, right? His sounds are helping us. They're just a little bit more tuned into him, right? But we're getting, where it's literally remoting him, okay, on that. So yes, is this cool? Okay, any questions? I'm ready to go that. Can you guys imagine? Look at the change that we can affect with people through this. That's why I got into biofeedback, right? After 20 years, you have no idea. This is a $50,000 investment. That's what this represents here, okay? This is now $49. You don't have to fly to, Vancouver Island and stay for a week and have 3 months of like home study before they'll even let you write an exam, which each one was $800 and $1,100. Okay. So I missed the chiropractic today. Thank you. So anyway, everyone's getting a little bit of his session right now in there. So I want you guys to take a look at that. I want you to absorb that. I'm not going to talk right now. I'm going to let you absorb. A lot better than my crouching sheep bed sheets. You're damn right. Definitely. Okay. This is how powerful those are. There are literally unlimited millions and millions and millions of frequencies that we can generate through Ryan Williams here at Insight Health App. So if you forget something, I can put that in the chat. Insight, that's I-N, and then your site, S-I-G-H-T, Insight Health Apps with the S.com. Okay. So you can look up that. There is a download on the Genius, and there is, then you can also go then to the training. Okay, take the PDF, watch the video. There's a video there which takes you directly to Insight Health Apps there. That's the website, and that's also the same thing you would find us at YouTube or on Facebook. Okay, so I'm not part of their paid staff, but hot darn, I volunteer for this because that's what I like seeing. I like seeing the miracles happen. So like I said, if it's something you want to play with, go do this. You can play with an Odyssey and a BioVibe. Should we try one of your things in here too? So like I said, with or without sound, with or without picture, with or without voice, we can still affect a change. Anyway, I want to thank you this evening for joining me. I'm Karenann Lusick McDonald. I'm the 13th clan mother. Okay, exactly. You see what we're doing with all this, by the way, before I go? We are pylo-erecting really fast right now. Okay, so when you are doing this, you're creating change in all the chakras, and all the sounds are pylo-erecting. Okay, so I want you to imagine I'm going to the back, I'm pylo-erecting all that, not just your hair, not just the antennas. Okay, so take a look at this. Now, slow finger too. He's been having back issues too. Now what it says, I'm stretching and bending while I'm listening. It feels really good, like a Tai Chi warm-up sort of. Okay, so those guys that have back pain, you got to be alkaline. I told you got to start taking a little bit of baking soda and borax water, and then you get loose and pliable. Then you put your essential oils on. Then if you need to, you can add a little bit of, a DSMO or something to drive it in if that's what you want. But get this stuff going. This is what's going to make the difference. So you apply those oils to your feet, to the low back. And if you were here, I'd put you on my amethyst bed and I would marinate you guys for about 15 minutes. And then I would put a hot, wet towel on. Okay, this is huge stuff. Where else did we have to be on a Friday evening? Thank you, Christy Belly. Thank you for your teaching, Karen, and your healing. Sorry for your loss. Oh, it's just awful when, you learn some of the things. So we're going to do something a little bit different than you see in there. I'm going to have, let's do this, because you guys have been part of like Selena and Sabrina's Biofield class, right? Okay, so we're going to show a little matrix. So we're going to add that in. So I want you guys to warm up your hands. You can put essential oils in or just do this. I want you guys, like we're starting a fire. We got a couple more minutes before we go here. Warm those hands up. I want your hands so that they feel hot, probably as hot as my neck. And again, that's from the DSMO and the cinnamon that's in there. Remember I told you about cinnamon? Okay, so it doesn't feel that hot to me, right? Looks like it's bad, but you just created a burnt thing there with that. So if I want to tone it down, I'm going to put some actually castor oil. So get it in. You got it all hot. Feel that energy. Okay, so we're going to imagine on ourselves. My hands are just buzzing and tingling. So you guys must be really tingling out there too. Feel that vibration and the tingling. Can't remember when I've had my hands vibrate so much like this. Feels like I got tuning forks. It feels like my hands are the tuning forks. Okay, so come in here. And what I want you to do is we're going to just imagine, Brett, so you can see both of that. Well, we'll put you in slow finger. We'll put anyone in there. I want you to look at their icon. I want you to look at them and imagine that you're giving that energy, that you're sitting just over his spine and cleaning it. Now I'm going to do matrix stuff. Okay, so now I'm going to show you the wild stuff, okay? So this is the medical intuitive thing. So we're going to imagine that like we're going to be doing clearing with our hands or with a crystal in your hand. Okay, lower stuff are like carnelian and bloodstones, red stones for those lower backs. Valor, those essential oils. I want you to imagine taking these essential oils, okay, and dropping them along. Raindrop, everyone that's got a sore back. So we're going to do Brent's back and we're going to do slow fingers to back. Raindrop them. I want you to imagine that you're doing the effleurage. So imagine that you're going like a little fountain. Okay, bring that fire up. Effleurage is back. I'm going to put some peppermint on, a little bit of castor oil, and I'm going to put a hot, wet towel, and I'm going to put a bag over top, like a plastic bag. And you're going to sit like that for a few minutes. I'm just going to hold my hands from the top of the head to the bottom of the buttocks in there. We're going to create an energy. You want to put your hands on each side of where the injury is. And I want you to see if you can feel the buzzing in your hands. I'm waiting till you feel like a ch-ch, ch-ch, ch-ch. Another thing you can do with people is hold their hands. If you're facing them, you grab left hand to left hand, right to right hand. Or if someone's on face down, I'm going to put my left hand on the left foot, right on there. But actually cross it. You can have it, just imagine I'm actually facing you on, you're facing up on a massage table, Brent, and we're going to start balancing there. It's denser, whatever's going on that side, left side. So those are some of the different things in there, okay? And we're doing the matrix energy. We're putting in energy where it needs to go, okay? So very, very powerful. I have a raindrop technique in here, by the way. That's one of my genius protocols. So I think we got a lot. Brent says we've got borax water behind him. Again, put the baking soda in. Baking soda and lemon. You know, if you have problems with that, then we can look at other things. The more alkaline you are, the better it's going to work. Get litmus paper. So Slowfinger said, I'm feeling loose on Friday evening. I'm in my bones. Laughing out loud. Biofield for sure. Oh, thank yous. There we go. Appreciate you. Appreciate all of you guys. Lots of love. And we're going to catch up with you guys later. If you would like to have a session, you need to have a demo. You need to have something done here. Just even want to see it. Like I said, I will do demos for anyone for 15 minutes. Okay, I don't charge people. If they want to do gift and barter and donations, that's available. I have sessions that go from today, could have been 30 minutes, 60, 90, and today 2 people took me 2.5 hours to clear today. Oh my gosh. So Carol Lee's on. Oh, there you go. You guys are amazing too. I want to thank you guys. And Carolyn goes, oh, thank you, Your Grace. You're welcome. You're most welcome. That's what we're here to do, is provide a little bit of our wisdom and spread the love. Spread the co-creation. What I'm teaching you is higher than love, okay? You're going to a lot that. You're going into bliss. You're going into peace up here. So I use peace and calming oils. And then you're moving into co-creation. So now what we're going to do, we're going to co-create. And Brent, if you get a hold of me at ClimbMother13 and send me your email, please, I will be happy to send you these reports. Again, I've got a couple reports I can send to you if you're interested on that. So send it to my ClimbMother13 so we can actually send a little report to Brent and we can see what's going on, give you your top oils for the issues and for the causes. And then, of course, in here, we can also go in and get some, reports for you, show about the toxicity, energy levels, where you're at, things like this. I think this is incredible. The cat liked the session too. He had back end. So that's good to know. Do you know I've actually done where I've done animals and detoxing? I've had cats vomit and actually bring up tapeworms on people's like living rooms. So I'm doing that. The other thing as well too, again, we can generate, like I said, reports for you. Okay. So if you need to look at some of these reports just to see what's going on or what we did, whether you want to look at the herbs, the oils, the spine, I'll give you a couple things at least today. Again, a lot of times what you see, and this is very common, what I see with low back pain and with people shedding, all those blue ones represent minerals that are way too low. Okay. That's a chemistry or electrolyte imbalance. And unless you have enzymes, so I mean, it's one thing to do serapeptase, digestive enzymes, nattokinase, and all those. But again, you see the difference? That's very common. So it's a lot of people who say will have low zinc, low copper, things like that. So that looks like you could definitely use a really great electrolyte and minerals because, and again, I will see that with people and they're malabsorbing, right? Let's look at the chakras, right? Weakest chakra. Oh, surprised. Guess what? That's the root chakra. Are you surprised? But we saw that color, right? And what happens a lot too is, let's say after some of these, there are so many different things. Is it ready for a change? Again, that's what I'm finding is people's energy is so stuck. It's just really hard to move the energy. Where I could do things really quickly, it's taking me like, double, triple the time right now because people are in crisis and you can see the rust in here. That's why you see this in here. That's why I recommend people actually do the steaming. So one of my top number one things here is actually for the steaming, by the way, Brent, is to go in and steam your butt. Go and do a chair steam, do a sit steam. That penetrates in. I'm not surprised about the root. Me either. But anyway, that happens. So I'm going to show you two more things here, three. Every one of these dots is a biofeedback device, okay? I know biofeedback devices. I've been at this 25 years. I'm not new to the game. There are things that we have bio vibes. These are like $15 a month. There are odysseys where you actually just record your voice again too. These are what's called uploads and stuff like that. They're just categories. You do not know the breakdown. Okay, but we're going to go in, but it will do the voice imprint again, as does the bio vibe, as does the genius. And again, there's a home version. Like I said, you can do that for $47 a month. There's another one. The major software is about, $99 a month. And then you can start getting into all the fun practitioner ones. But again, you can scan the voice. And all of these, by the way, you can download from probably 5 to 7 days for free. That's why that Insight Health Apps is in there. And we literally will scan you just like Star Trek. I'm hitting a voice scan in here. And it will tell me. So I can go to the back. I can go to the small intestine. I can go for sleeping. I can go for fungus. All those things are just lumped into categories. So if we've got pain and stuff like that, like brain pain or higher consciousness stuff, or I want to go into any organs here or hormones, you pick your category. Okay. So if I want to go in and there's pain, even though I may not be in that pain, but I am in a little bit. That's why I had a massage today too. I can go here and just play this. Now this is where isochronic tones are not as fun. That's why we put some usually, different changes in here. But there we go. Okay. There's something that's being built in there. So these are just some of the different ones here. You can also go try out a rife. There's one for water. There's one for fractals you can go into. There's one for everyone wants to restructure their water and alkalize it. We have stuff like this. Also, we have relationships, inner stuff here, all sorts of fun things. But one of the other things is a pure rife. So I could go into here and actually type, this is where you're going to get your pure ones. We'll just try one more things here, seeing as you're still in pain. Can I do the voice scan without having me on a microphone? Yeah, but I don't know why. Everyone's got a phone these days, or you can send a record to me. All I need is 30 seconds of your voice, A-E-I-O-U, A-E-I-O-U, or just call me. You can put on FaceTime. Everyone can do a record. I can issue you guys. Actually, that's what I can do. Anyone that wants to try this out, I can issue you a 14-day free trial. So if that's not exciting enough, put your email in here or send it to my Clamother13 and we will put it there. But let's say if someone had back pain. I don't know if you girls know all this, but anyway, let's say if I had someone in pain, you can put pain into the rife and look at all the pains that come up, you guys. There's back pain, hip pain, girdle pain, cancer pain, all sorts of pains in here. Okay, central pain, thalamic, cervical, okay, anti-pain. So all these different things are pain. So all you have to do is, let's say he's got back pain. I could go into back pain here and literally just put however many seconds I want, and it will deliver. Those are pure isochronic cones. These are from 0 to 20,000 megahertz. Voice chat on a messenger on my phone these days. Whatever you got. Doesn't matter. I use phone. I use telephones. I use the cam phone on Telegram, Google phones, all that stuff. So there's just an example of using a straight rife here. Princess of TC said she had the free trial. It's fantastic. But did you try all these other ones? You may have done the Genius, but you know you still got a rife. That one here, that's $150. You can go into the BioVibe for $15. You can go into the Odyssey, which is $350 before we even hit the Geniuses at $500. So there's something that's just a straight rife generator with the Baja harmonic frequencies. Okay, it's not $5,000, and this stuff is working. I'm showing you how this is working, not hooked up. Okay, so then I can go into, is it spine? Is it vertebrae? Is it the digestive system? It's all the above. So let's say I have a thing here with distorting muscles, and I'm literally just going to hit, well, there's a back pain for distorting muscles. We could go into the sciatica stuff. Okay, more stuff. Okay, can you guys hear that? Okay, so again, you pick however many seconds or minutes you want it for. Teeny's going, I need it. Again, these kind of devices from Insight Health app go anywhere, as I said, from $15 up. Okay, this is not something you need to pay $11,100 and you don't have to be a member. Okay, so there are things you can do and record with these. Like I said, there are other ways to do this as well. So this is one of the things. You can take tone generators, and we have things that interface with left or right for energy coils. Okay, so I can actually plug in rodent coils and stuff into here too. You can go into different backgrounds, whether you don't want to hear chimes, maybe you want to hear nature's harmony, or you want to clear stuff. So there's all sorts of vibrational things. You can change that sound again. Okay, there's no limit to what you guys can do. So here's another version. Like I said, you pick what's most soothing to you. Okay, and also in here as well, you can go into, if you don't know about Royal Rife, we have a whole library here for you to teach you. Okay, this is not artificial intelligence. I repeat, it's not artificial intelligence. What this is it's a library that's been built in that you can access for education. So to me, this is an educational assistant. So anyway, it tells you about the Royal Raymond Rife. Okay, why spend thousands of dollars when you can get apps that generate the frequencies up to 20,000 hertz? You can't even hear that high. From 1 to 20,000 hertz is in here. And then I add my own frequencies, I might add. And then you can do sweeps. So if you got Rife code books, I could do sweep for several different issues. Go into the bones has an issue, the muscle has an issue, the ligaments have an issue, the tendons have an issue, the nerves have an issue. I can do a sweep and run everything for different conditions in here. Okay, so that's what we call energetic sweeps. Okay, are you guys that are aware of this? Do you know this? Did you know this about your Genius? Did you know about these things, how to do swipes? So this is called the Insight Health apps. It's just called a Rife. One's called a Genius. So I want you to go in. It's a Rife in here. So all about the Rife frequencies, okay? There are different things with Rife and also with sounds and symbols, all sorts of things in nature. Okay, so you can learn all about how this stuff goes with frequency. Okay, so we're putting it into basically a sound of mathematical solfeggio tone frequency. It's also called universal vibrational language. Did you guys know that have the Genius? Did you realize how special this stuff is? Did you realize that? So we can combine sound, light, magnetics, all sorts of frequencies all together in here. Okay, so these are quantum sounds that we can do. So that is what this is. So this is actually an app. You can get it through the App Store or Insight Health apps. Okay, and you can try this for 5 days if you want. Like I said, there's so much stuff here. Okay, this is the most amazing parts that you have available to you. So I just wanted to show you some of that. You know, isn't this excellent? You know, I think all of this is just absolutely stunningly brilliant. You know, you can be going on to here and just seeing how many different things that we have available to you. You know, you do not have to be suffering in pain. Okay, there are things that are available that you could be doing. And I think, why not enjoy that? Okay, there are so many things, again, you can be going in and doing. You know, those options are there. You've got your Fridays at 5s, but I actually go through the, you know, if you want something after hours or whatever, as long as you're on, you know, Pacific time, anywhere between probably 9 in the morning and 9 at night, I'm open to accommodate you even on weekends and stuff like that. So that is really, really important. So I want you to take a look at that and try these out, because you don't know till you try it. If this was this effective, can you imagine putting it on with headphones, or putting your headphones on around a glass of water? Oh my gosh, you could be doing amazing things like this, right? Absolutely amazing things. Okay, so I just gave you basically 4 devices you can try out. If that doesn't keep you busy for 2 weeks, I don't know what will. You know, like I said, all this stuff is available to you. You don't have to be suffering and stuff like that. So one of the things in here, like I said, is take a look at this. You know, everything is available to you. Okay, I'm going to see if I can screen share here. Tell me if you guys can see this biofeedback. We'll just test it and see if it's actually coming through. We'll see if that will work. Testing it out. Did anyone see my screen shift over to the Insight thing? Those are, again, different ideas that you can play with, you know, and we'll take a look at that. You know, take a look at this. I want you to look at this Insight Health apps here. Okay, that is where you're going to get, if you don't use my link, go to here. It tells you that you can go apply here for a free download on all of this stuff. If not, go to Possibility Wave at the Apple Store, right? You can go try any of these, you know, for 14 days, and then you can keep going, and you can keep trying all the other different ones as well. So again, a phone, tablet, or iPad, I don't care which one of the ones you want in here. But again, you can go in and use it. We used a Rife. We've got the BioVibe. All of these different things are available. Okay? All of these things you can do, your voice, your picture, you can put remedies on, you can go into all those categories, you can do any acupuncture meridian, all this stuff is available to you for within seconds. Okay? It's not rocket science. Okay? So this is a breakthrough. Like I said, you can go into all these different ones in here. And then again, you can go into all these different download links. Look at the downloads we have for you. So go to the download links. There's, you got webinars that are free. You get training for free. And now we go into all the apps. So there's the Genius I just showed you on. Okay, capsules, we can send distant sounds to people for a week. There's your BioVibe. There you go. There's your download, showing you where to do it. Okay, then you've got words and affirmations. You can put that in. You can do archetype into a cosmic healing sound. And again, it's meant to be listened with, always with minimum headphones or earbuds. Intention, putting your intentions and feeding it back into the water, making homeopathics, making electrical pharmaceuticals. There's the Rife I just used on you as well. That's the Insight, the Royal Rat, right? Again, not that expensive. There's an emotional part in there too. There's the water harmonizer, you know, restructuring waters, liquids, juices, foods. People are clearing their foods there. And again, you can give that to your pets and stuff like that. Okay, all these things are available. All these things are available for just the touch. There's an essential oil app as well. Did you guys know that? There's another one. So these are things that are really, really important. And I'm going to finish off one more thing in here. on that, and we go from there. So anyway, look at all that. Look at the nutrition. You've got a chakra panel, you've got a meridian panel, you've got an emotional panel, you've got young living oils, you've got nutritional support, blends, spines, nose. All these things are for you to play with. And if you can't keep yourself amused for a couple of weeks, I don't know what else to suggest. I'm also going to do, like I said, sessions if you want. And again, one of the things too, I want you to look at the education, because I think that's a really, really important thing here, is to go into the events and into the education. Okay. There is so much stuff in here, and I'm going to show you where you can actually get all your free training and free different applications. Okay. You've got, just click one of these, you're right into the Insight Health apps. There is all your level 1 training for free. It takes you less than 2 hours to know all the basics about it. Okay. You want to get trained. You want to go to university. We have universities. You want to talk with doctors. We have doctors teaching. There's all your PDFs. Okay. So that is something I just wanted you to play with. And there you go. So that's simple. Yep. It's pretty easy. So, and Carolee says, I didn't know about the Rife until speaking to you. Other apps don't have what the Genius does for a fraction of the cost. Remedy plates. You know what? I usually use 3 apps minimum. I use 3 of these biofeedback devices usually per session with a client. So I find they're really powerful, all within their own ways. But again, there's something in there for everyone. So yes, a little of it you got. That's great. Yep, we're all done. So we're done for this evening. My 1 hour turned into just about 2 1/4. So anyway, have a great week. If you have any questions, get a hold of me. If you think any of this has been helpful, pass it around. Let people know that they have other options. And again, people have asked a lot of stuff. Can you do this with people that have been injected? You don't hook them up, but they certainly can listen to those sounds. And I've used them for palliative care and for hospice care. So yes, I have done it for people in there. When you are pure-blooded or clean or least graphinated, then you have the ability to hook up with all these wonderful bracelets and wonderful stuff that you see. But anyone can use headphones and listen to music, okay? It's not music, it's frequency tones. And yes, it will help. Everything helps alleviate it. I can do spike protocols through these things as well. Anyway, thanks a lot. You guys take care. We're ending the stream. Have a great week. Take care. Ciao.